Hey there, I'm Ashley, and this is New Day with Ashley. If you're looking for inspiration to make a difference and create lasting impact, then you're in the right place. Get ready to be encouraged by the stories of my guests who have taken risks, overcome challenges, and created opportunities. It's time to make the most of your new day. Home is where the heart is, and my guests are a husband and wife team that help put heart at the center of your home. Nate and Mandie Drege create cozy spaces through renovation and design that will forever feel like home. All right, well, welcome, guys. Mandie, Nate, so fun to have you guys here.
Thanks.
You guys are such a fun couple.
I mean, we can be fun.
90% me.
We have a good time.
90%. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll give it to them, right? Yeah. But tell me a little bit, or tell us a little bit about like who you guys are and Abide Home and Design.
Yeah.
So who's Mandie? Who's Nate?
You can go first.
Oh, I get to start. Yeah. No, we are what we are. It's kind of evolved a lot. And somebody asked me the other day, like, when did Abide officially start? And I feel like it's kind of been just like happening for the last, how many years have we been married? 16 years since we first started dating. He actually originally, fun fact, was supposed to go to school for architecture, didn't end up there. I went to school for education, for psychology, was going to be a school counselor, didn't end up there. But we both have just had this kind of underlying passion for design and building and creating. And I have definitely taken advantage of his skills in our own homes. And it just kind of started and has emerged into this is what we're going to do full time 16 years later. So it's just been a slow burn that's turned into something really cool this last year.
Yeah. And working together.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like it surprisingly has been really easy working together. I think, you know, I grew up doing construction with my dad, and then my dad hired me out to about every trade to learn different skills growing up. You know, I got to see all the way from doing roofing to lawn irrigation systems and did a little bit of everything.
Wow.
And so us jumping in together, you know, like a lot of couples are like, don't go into business together. Like it's really hard. But, you know, I've kind of looked at it like, yeah, whatever cool ideas she has, and I've seen it over the last 16 years. She'll say, hey, what if we, I always know the conversation. If it starts out with what if, that I'm in trouble because I got
Work to do.
a lot of work to do. But I've seen over the years all her projects that she comes up with that I might think are crazy. In the beginning, when she came up with these ideas, I'd push back and be like, no, I don't want to do that.
We can't do that. That's not possible.
And now at this point, I'm just like, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll find a way to make it work. And
I don't think we would have been ready for it 16 years ago. Like 19 and 21-year-old Nate and Mandie, like we started off our marriage just real quick, and we were still students, and we were still trying to figure out who we were. And those experiences and those things that we went through those first few years were what got us to a place now where we do trust each other, and we do just feed off of each other and play well together. And so kind of where I leave off, he picks up, and vice versa. And so it's just been really cool to see how it's just transitioned. So
You guys seem to have a lot of fun together. It's fun to watch you on like social media
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Nate's voices.
my Wisconsin accent there, or the North Dakota one.
You never know who you're going to get. Like you really never do. Like
We might have a few versions today
yes,
then.
absolutely.
We held a vote on Instagram to see if they wanted the voices or not.
If they
and
preferred it or not.
It was like a 9 out of 10 said
Yeah,
yes. So
I mean,
you got to go with what they want.
Give the people what they want.
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
you guys haven't always worked together.
No. Yeah.
So this has been, you know, was there like a moment where you guys knew like we're going to do this together? You know, like give us a little bit, like walk us back a little bit.
Yeah. I think for me, the moment where I realized life is short and you can't not take risks is we had a cancer scare with her. Man, it would have been probably 5 years ago. And I remember, you know, you as a husband, you never want to hear, hey, I've got this lump on my neck, and do you think we need to go get it checked out? And and it was at those few days where we were going in and getting biopsies done and finding out like it wasn't cancer, it was a tumor on her thyroid, and just going through all the highs and lows. Like I realized at that moment, I'm like, okay, like whatever this lady wants, I'm gonna give it to her. Like
Smart man.
Yeah,
life's
no,
too
I should
short.
have cashed in on that
Yeah.
more, I guess. I don't know.
You know, life's too short. So that kind of began our adventures of flipping houses. Like at the time, we weren't making all that much money, and I'm like, okay, what can I do to give her dream house
And supplement our income a
and
little
supplement
bit.
our income? So I started doing a lot more side work, and we bought a house and completely gutted it to the studs.
And you didn't live in that house then?
Oh.
Or you did?
So
We did.
So
it
here's
was
the
stages.
crazy adventures
and also,
of Nate
how
and
many
Mandie.
kids do you guys have?
We have
got-
3.
Okay, yeah.
So we gutted the house, and I finished the basement while we were living in a rental for like 5 months, and then we lived in our basement for 9 months. In our furnace room is where our bedroom was.
Yep.
It was
Wow.
Best
was a-
sleep I ever got.
yeah, it was a big furnace room. Like
That white noise.
that constant
Yes.
white noise.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, anyways, that was the moment where, okay, if she's got a crazy idea, like I'm gonna do it. Like I'm not gonna say no. Like if I can make it happen, I'm gonna do it. And I think that's where it started for me.
Yeah. I mean, we were living in Iowa at the time, and we had no idea we'd be moving back to his home state of North Dakota. He once said we would never move back to North Dakota. And after, 3 winters here, we're still questioning that
Yeah.
decision. But
I don't know.
He wants Wisconsin.
I'm still not questioning it.
yeah, it's been good. But like, we didn't know that flip of that house. Like, we thought that was going to probably potentially be one of our forever homes or whatever that looks like. But it wasn't. But it was kind of that springing off point that brought us back to Fargo. And then just, over the last 3 years, it's become full time, and it's become our reality. So,
So 3 years ago, you moved back.
Yep.
And then that's kind of when now Abide.
yeah.
And, what does Abide mean? Or mean to you guys?
Yeah, when we were, so Nate, for 15 years, I guess you're probably wondering what he did for 15 years, but he was a worship pastor for 15 years. We were in full-time ministry doing all this crazy other fun stuff on the side too.
Is that what brought you away then?
Yep, that's what brought us
And then back
down to
Fargo.
Iowa and then back
back to
up
Fargo?
to go to North Dakota.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just this last winter, 2021, following, COVID and all the craziness that went with that, that we really were just like, okay, where are we supposed to go from here? We were still doing a lot of projects and side things here and there. And we just began to just kind of see like what a need there was in this town and the surrounding area. People were just constantly, remodeling older homes or finishing basements that they had purchased a home previous for. And we were like, okay, what does that look like for us? And I was thinking, just tossing around like you always do, like names of what could we call our business? If we start a business, if we do this crazy thing full time, which a lot of our friends had been telling us, you need to do this. You just need to do this. Like, take that leap. And I had a friend actually who said, because I was trying to think of a word that was all encompassing, that was a place you want to dwell, a place you want to be, a place that just feels like home. And the word abide came to mind. And so Abide Home and Design came out of that, because for me, a house is just a house until you go in and you put those sweet little finishing touches on it. You put those special things that just make it feel like you, that make it feel like home. And so that's kind of what we wanted to do, was just be that bridge that does that for people that they just don't have the skills. They don't have the, know-how. Yeah. And so when we go in and we do that for people, we want it to be a place that ultimately they want to abide. So
I love it. It's beautiful. I was asking you, what do I need to do with this podcast space?
yeah, absolutely.
Help me. And you're like, this. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
I need to go buy a lot of things.
Yeah.
No.
I think
not too much. Yeah.
I think that's where it's dangerous, because
Yeah.
a lot of people will walk into a home and they can't see past the paint color. They can't see past the terrible shag green carpet, those types of things.
Ooh, I grew up with that.
Exactly. I know. So, and that's where we come in. We can see big picture. We can see, just a few cosmetic changes here and there, or a few structural changes sometimes. It depends on how big the project, but yeah. So
And then that's where like your architecture passion probably comes out.
Yeah, I started, like, I still love drawing. I started out at Wapaton going for architecture, and they were one of the only schools in the country that still did hand-drawn plans of buildings. And that's really what I wanted. I wanted to be more hands-on. CAD and stuff is awesome, and I still probably want to go back and learn it. But actually being able to lay out a space in front of a client and show them, hey, we could do this. You move a few things around, and it changes the entire feel of a space. And one of my favorite things has been going into basements with a blank slate and coming up with spaces that people want to just stay in the whole time. Like we've had clients say our kids just never leave the basement now.
Perfect. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, there's so many builders. This town has some really great builders. There's some beautiful homes going up left and right. And I've been honored to get to stage some of those spaces. And I think that sometimes it's hard to find, someone who's willing to take on those smaller projects, take on those finishes, those little extra details that maybe you couldn't afford when you first purchased your home, but now you would like to have a little feature wall or whatever. And we can do those projects, and we can come in quickly, and we can do them, and we can even just come up with an idea for someone who doesn't know exactly what it is that they want, but they know they want that little something. So that's been really fun just to see, just take it the next step.
So this was, coming from, being a worship pastor to running your own business. You mentioned, like, your friends had said, like, take the leap. So was this a big risk?
For sure.
Yeah. Like, it's a big difference when you go from having a paycheck that comes every 2 weeks to, hey, I've got to take the budget skills I've learned in the past working with budgets for church-wide things and take that into, okay, I've got a project here. How am I going to not only pay myself, but pay my subs, my part-time help, and still take care of our family? And it was definitely a big, like, oh, crap, what are we get? If we take this leap, it's going to be a big adjustment. And this past year, it's been great. Like, there's weeks where I work 80 hours, but there's also weeks as an owner of your own business where you can take a week off and spend with your family and do those things. So I think the rewards have far outweighed the risk. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just there's a huge learning curve there. Anytime you decide to start a company and be self-employed, you're like he said, you're not getting that bi-monthly paycheck. You're not, those insurance, all the things that you don't really think about because it's just there, is no longer there. And so it has been a little bit scary, but it's also been just really exciting to see how every time we're not sure where that next thing is going to come from, it comes, and Ashley, you were asking me if we have a website, if we have like all these things, and it's like, we have literally not had a single second to even like sit and do those things. We're literally just like going from project to project because of word of mouth, because of, your reputation just starts to kind of precede you when you treat people well and when you care about, the little things. And so that's what we try to do well, is just take care of those little details, really hear people when they tell us what they want, and not just see them as another person to check off the list.
Right.
So
I think, that's a huge testament of what you guys are doing, that you don't have to have
advertisement or website. And I think some of the big helps for us at the beginning were other business owners in town, like close friends of ours. David Reed at Radiant Homes, he was a huge asset for me, and then
a mentor to you.
For getting things started. And then Ross Mellon at Elevated Electric, those two guys sat down with me. They were two of the guys that were really like, you could do this, like, you got the skills, why are you waiting? And really sat down with me and said, hey, here's some of the first steps. Like, you don't have to have it figured out. That was the biggest thing for me, is the encouragement that you're going to screw things up. You're going to have jobs where you lose your shorts, but you're going to learn from those mistakes, and having them to coach me and to give me, insights and like, okay, if you're if you're not losing any jobs, you're selling yourself way too short. And I think the thing I learned is the value that we bring is we really, like, I'm OCD about stuff, like
Just slightly, yeah.
like
Just like
like you wouldn't tell from the state of my garage, but when it comes to like
Or our closet, but
or our
other than
closet,
that,
but
yeah.
when it comes to like finishing touches on things, like even paint lines, like I walk into a room and I look up at the cut lines on every single paint job. Like it's just an eye for detail that I learned from
Like
from
when
the
I
guys
see
I work
when I
from.
see his eyes wandering in the restaurant, I know he's checking out the finishes on the tile or something, and I'm like, babe, it's fine.
Let's just eat
It's okay.
dinner.
Just
Yeah.
Yep. So I feel like we're always designing. We're always like looking at things. You know, that's just how our
your brains work.
brains
Yeah.
work. Yeah, and it's
And,
And I've
and what
learned
you
to
truly love.
channel my inner Mandy. like
don't know
I'm
what
like,
the-
well, Mandy would do this. I totally know she would. Like if I go to do a estimate on a house, I'm like, I can tell you what my wife's gonna say.
yeah, he's gotten a lot better at gauging. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
But that's good. I mean, you guys, work so well together too. And I think, again, like, people just know word of mouth of, we want you. I asked you for I wish I wouldn't have asked for advice on how to paint our cabin. I'm like, oh my goodness,
That's
I'm
a
going to
lot
be
more
painting.
steps than you
I'm
think
like,
it was.
I will be painting all summer long.
Yeah.
but it will last. It will be there
Yeah.
forever. Yeah. No, it's so good.
Oh, but I'm like, so thank you for that advice
Yeah.
even too.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
Do you guys have favorite projects that you've done?
For me, it's probably our house in Iowa.
Yeah, that was
Like,
kind of our starting point,
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Because we've been in 11 houses in 15 years,
Wow.
and so we've done a ton of different projects for houses. And then in college, I worked full time doing construction while I was going to school. But I think probably my favorite project was our house in Iowa, because that was kind of coming off the cancer scare with Mandy, and we put like, I did things that I fought her 110%. Like, what's that tile pattern?
Oh, the
Houndstooth?
herringbone.
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 Oh my gosh. It was a nightmare to do, but it
That looked beautiful. I
Looks
bet.
fantastic.
absolutely amazing. And it's where I kind of learned to, okay, if she's got an idea, we're
Let's
going to
try
go
it.
for it.
Yeah.
And
It's
and
those
I
little
had-
details that make all the difference, I think, though. Sometimes just thinking outside the box a little bit, because I think that's what bothered us the most about so many houses is how cookie cutter and I mean, in Fargo, a lot of them are, your typical, like,
There's a
split
few
level.
different styles.
yeah,
and,
yep, that's what you get. And so for us, it's just always fun to say, well, maybe you don't need to rebuild. Maybe you don't need to add an addition. Maybe you just need to make this a little bit more functional, a little bit more fun, a little bit more the style that feels like you. And so being able to like work through those things together, and sometimes he has to rein me in, sometimes it's beyond what we're able to do,
Yeah.
but I think it's been cool. I would agree with him on the project. It was crazy how that house flip in Iowa was kind of like the launch pad for everything we did here. And like he has the people who have kind of spoken to his life and been mentors to him. But I also have worked at Eco Chic the last 3 years with my girls over there, and literally came into that job with no resume involving any type of interior design. I'm one of the lead designers there now. And it's, my resume was the before and after pictures. Like that's what it was, And so had I not done that project, had we not gone through that experience over those 2 years, I wouldn't have even had that. So it was just really cool how just, that challenge that we did together, and that crazy season of life led us back here and then allowed us to kind of just like spring off of all of that into what we're doing now. So it's been really cool to see that happen.
And it's so cool to see you guys like doing it together and like just, taking a risk, overcoming all these other challenges, not just the challenge of starting a business, but health issues and moves and
Raising 3 kids.
raising your kids.
surviving North Dakota winters.
Yeah, all the things. Yeah, absolutely.
And you still get to do music.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
And you still get to do your voices.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fun to
All
watch
the
you guys
time.
on social media with that. It is.
Yes.
It's good.
Yeah.
Now, one piece of advice or like encouragement that you could give someone else that's looking to maybe start their own business or do something they've, wanted to do, but they're scared because there's that risk.
Mm-hmm. I think what I said before, life's too short. You don't know what tomorrow holds. Like, I think what COVID like brought out to me was like, man, I can control nothing but what I can control. Like, if you want to start your own business, like it really does put the ball in your court. Like, if you're willing to put in the work and if you do a good job, you're gonna succeed. Like, there's gonna be hard times, there's gonna be hard things, but like when you don't have things that, when things were out of my control and stressful and hard, it was so much harder for me to make my dream of starting my own business become a reality. And when I realized, all right, I actually can take things into my own hands and start my own business, control a little bit of what my destiny is. I don't have to rely on someone else for a paycheck. I can go out and I can control basically how much money we make depends on how hard we're willing to work, to where a lot of times when you're in an office job, like the benefits are you get benefits, you get your paycheck every 2 weeks, but you maybe get a 5% raise in a year, and doesn't matter how hard you work, doesn't matter what effort you put in, you don't have the opportunity for growth as you do when you have your destiny in your own hands. And I think that's one of the things I learned. And there is amazing people in this town that will help you. Go ask for advice. Like, I think that's the great thing about most North Dakotans is if we see someone else that wants to do it. I've had a couple kids that have worked for me part-time, and I told them the same thing. I said, if you need anything, come ask me. Any advice on what you're doing, call me any time of the day. That's what people did for me in the past. I still call my boss that I worked for in college. If I run into a problem that I can't solve, I call Nate and I say, hey, I got a little in over my head. What do I need to do? And I think that's the beauty about Fargo is there's those people. If you're willing to put yourself out there, that will help you, and that will. So take the leap.
Just move forward. I think some people are so frozen and so stuck because they don't know what the next best thing is. And I think sometimes there's no next best thing. It's just moving forward. And like my mom always, or someone, I think it was my mom, said, when one door closes, God will open a window. And I think that's what it's been for us too. Like, sometimes it's that big slam in the face that's a hard no that forces you to climb a little bit, and then you realize, oh, here's my out, or here's my next step. And sometimes it's not written in stone, it's not right in front of us, but sometimes it's just moving forward, and like he said, like just doing the next best thing you know how to do, and then relying on those people around you that are going to be those support systems that are going to give you that advice, that have maybe gone down the road ahead of you, that are just there to walk alongside you and just get you down the road. So
I love it. That's good advice, good solid advice, good North Dakotan advice. But yeah, really, I mean, and what an inspiring story you guys have. Like, it's awesome to hear, and how you guys could rely on each other. I mean, like, not everyone can.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that, and
it's not been easy. There's been a lot of heartache and closed doors and confusion, and I think we are at a good place now where it sounds like it was all sunshine and roses, and it wasn't. Like, there was a lot of hard years, and just, life has been hard for everyone. Like, there's a lot of people going through a lot of things, and just not really understanding things, even why we had come back to North Dakota for a while, why we were here, what our purpose was, all the things. And so we're just like, it's been really cool to be able to just lean into each other, lean into our family, for our kids to see us struggle. I think that's healthy. Kids don't understand, like, just life is not easy. You know, it really isn't. And sometimes we paint this false sense of, you know, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you'll be fine. That's not always how it is. And so it's been good for our kids to see mom and dad struggle, to see us have tears at time, and to just see us continue to lean into each other and into our faith and into just the things that our parents taught us, work ethic, and just to keep moving forward. So, yeah.
One of the things that I've written, like I'll hang like random quotes up in my garage or pictures my kids have drawn. And one of the ones I wrote down this last year was, you can't wait for things to be easy till you decide to be happy. And I think that's been one of the things like that I've clung to over the last couple of years is like, all right, so situations can get hard, and it goes back to people scared to start their own business or scared of what's next. Like you can wait for things to be easier before you make a change, or you can make that change and put in the work. Like that, it's not necessarily just pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, but it's, all right, today I'm going to take one step at a time to realize, okay, today's hard. Okay, today I hit a water line and now I got to fix stuff that I had no plan on working on. But realizing every day is a choice to take that leap to actually, you know, do something hard. Like that's what I tell my kids every day. Like when they're saying, "Dad, it's not fair," I'm like, "Kids, life isn't fair. Go do something." Like that's what I'm scared of for my kids' generation is they're going to be so afraid to try things. Like
if they're gonna fail, with that possibility.
Like I've become a jack of all trades because I've tried everything. Like
at least once.
even changing the transmission in my car.
Did you ever try hot yoga yet?
No, I have not tried that
Okay,
yet.
let's talk about that for a minute.
We'll try that. But like what I tell my kids, I'm like, go and experience everything. Like, you know, you hear the quote. This is another one of my favorite quotes. I get real deep.
Full of quotes.
Full of quotes today. Like it says a jack of all trades is a master of none. But what it doesn't go on to say is the rest of the quote. It says a jack of all trades is a master of none, but a jack of all trades is still better than a master of one. And so I want my kids to go out and experience, learn how to do a little bit of everything, because life will be hard. Like you'll learn, okay, I tried that and I'm not very good at it, so I'm not going to try that again. And you're going to have way more life experiences if you're willing to go out and take risks. And
that's where the joy is too.
Yeah, that's for me over the last year is what the joy has been is taking the risk and seeing the reward and dealing with the hard times where I'm learning I'm not as good a communicator as I thought I was trying to communicate with clients, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need someone for that, or pass some of that on to Mandie, but I tried and I've learned a lot. And so I'd say that's probably my favorite thing about this last year is all the risks and our kids getting to see, okay, life's not fair, but what do we do when life isn't fair? Like how do we pick ourselves up and respond and maybe take a risk that we wouldn't have taken otherwise.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your story, and I'm inspired. I feel encouraged. So, you know, this is what it's about how we can help others make the most of their new day. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Wow, what a great episode. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always so inspiring sharing these stories. Remember to like and subscribe below to the YouTube channel to stay caught up with new episodes of New Day with Ashley. And make sure to follow New Day with Ashley and KFGO on all social medias. The links are in the description. I'll see you in the next episode.